And you are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen,
Greetings to you.
wherever you are, for music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
the station for you is
OTR.
We hope the station for you is OTR. That's the Old Tube Radio Network. Real radio's glowing in the dark. For over 30 years, we've been doing this at 27085 Channel 11, and now at oldtuberadio.net with the audio stream, and also here at Google YouTube with the audio and some video at times of the radios that check in here on the Old Tube Radio Network from Central California. We'll see what we can do. OTR listening.
45.
And that is the way to do it. Hello, Paul. SWL 45 is in the Radio Shack, and something tells me you have the either coiled cord or the scratchy cord connected to a tube radio tonight.
Yes, sure do. This is my ICM, International Crystal Manufacturer, Executive CTZ 50.
Okay, one of the rare ones from International Crystal Manufacturing, the CTZ50. I'm not sure we have a picture of that or not, but look, there it is. Give us some audio on. I'm not sure that's your radio. I have a feeling yours might look better than that, but give us a transmission.
Yeah, mine's a lot better than that one. I got this one from Raw, but Cart swamped me a year or two ago. A great radio. As you can see, it's got the banana mic on the thing, the same kind of mic that the Brownies are running on the thing. It's an interesting radio. I'll let you finish up on some stuff there.
Okay, has the portable look sort of like a Gonset or a E.F. Johnson? And that indeed does look similar to like the Browning, the microphone you would see on a Browning. What can I tell you about the International Crystal Manufacturing? Not much. I'm looking to see if I can find a year of manufacture on that. I don't even have a Sam's photo fax to call up. It shows that it's 3 channels. Is that correct?
Yeah, 3 channels on transmit, 2 receive channels. And it's got a VFO on the thing, and it's a very good VFO. It's a real wide range. It goes from channel 1 all the way to channel 26. And like I say, I'm running the stock International Crystal Banana microphone, made by Electric Boys. I'm sure it's ceramic. And this is a great little radio. It sold for $150 back in 1962. That's when they made all the radios of these ICM CTZ radios in 62. And they put 3 radios out that year. I'll get back. I got another one here. I'm going to warm up if it'll cooperate. Back to you.
Okay, sure sounds good. Putting in a real strong signal from your area. Paul is about 40 miles away, actually, up in the foothills, and he's S9 on the meter. Some radios are less that he checks in, some radios are more. So for the little rig that could, putting out some nice RF and some good audio to go with it. That's stock audio, no amplification at all. And I figured it'd be an early 60s radios, of course, because it wasn't 23 channels and not a lot of fluff there, but it works great on the audios you will hear on the archive. Just a reminder that we do archive the audio at oldtuberadio.net. There's an archive button at the top of the page that you can click on, and it brings up the dates and whether it's a SWL mode or a tube mode. You can listen in to how your radio sounded here at Net Control. Before you go, Paul, let's hear the International Crystal Manufacturing CTZ 50 one more time as we take a look at it here. It's doing a good job.
Yeah, okay. Well, they're still in business, and it's one place you can get crystals. At least I got some about a year ago. So it's nice to have that as a reserve situation, because the crystals are getting hard to find on the thing. Anyway, thanks for checking in, Dennis. I'll try to get my other one warmed up.
All right, it's doing good. I took a better look at the S meter, and that has a lot of forward modulation as well. I think that's why the audio sounds good. So that is decent all the way around, right out of the box. Don't have to do anything to it. And a lot of the radios that we check in are like that. They are unmodified. There weren't many modifications you could do on some of these radios. They'd be except change the channel and put in a different crystal. But stock audio, and doing a good job. Thanks for getting us started off with the International Crystal Manufacturing CTZ 60. We're looking for radio number 2.
Break OTR.
Or maybe an SWL check-in. That will also be a good thing. Hello, Break OTR in Madera, I think.
I have 61. Checking in, Dennis, but I'm late.
Okay, yeah, hi, Dean. I don't have a beam to point around, so you're doing okay without it. SWL 61 Copenhagen Kid, we will get you on the big board, and thanks for remembering the Saturday night place to be.
Thank you, sir. Y'all have a good night.
And we are listening for radio number 2. And Scooter, get the foot switch to work here. Scooter's along for the ride tonight, for a little while anyway. Say hi, Scooter. Scooter says, I want to stay. I want to find the warm spot in the Radio Shack here tonight. That's somewhere around this area. Getting just a little bit of static. I think it is the LED Christmas lights in the neighborhood kicking up a little noise, but the noise blanker's doing a good job taking it out here.
Number 7.
And I just refreshed my page and saw the comment that Ray left about that International Crystal Manufacturing. We don't always have really nice photos, but we try to get something representative. But I agree with you, Ray. That one looks like it was a lunchbox for somebody or something. Anyway, hello, Ed, SWL7, in the Radio Shack tonight with a radio that sounds like it's definitely going to make our list. Over.
Well, I do believe it should. It's just got a couple of tubes in it, considering it's, about 31 inches across the table here. The Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB with a Golden Eagle D104 microphone.
Okay, I can't remember the full tube complement between both the transmitter and receiver, but I want to say it could be as much as many as 18. So that will keep you warm. We have a better representative picture here of the Browning Golden Eagle. This one looks like it hasn't been left outside. Sounding good. You are sparing us with the short ping, but at least you're giving us the flavor of the trademark Browning Eagle Air.
There you go. Got the little tiny ping going there, just to save my ears and anyone who might be wearing my headphones.
Well, I'm one of them. I'm one of the headphone crew here, so it's doing good. I've got things set up, I think, so that I don't have to pull them off quickly. The Browning Golden Eagle Mark III, and you have the SSB version. There was an AM version that I believe the transmitter was a little shorter or a little smaller than the, not as wide as the receiver, but this is the classic Mark III full banana here with everything sideband AM and price tag of about $750 back in the day.
And of course, way more money than I could afford at that time. But luckily, I've got one now to play with, and we can bring it out here on Old Tube Radio.
Absolutely. The funny thing is you can still find them today for that price, and they may even be non-tested and possibly working. So it's good to have an original version that you know is working. Nice audio, Good signal, of course. You're not too far away. And from 1972 here to 2017, the radio's sounding good.
And thank you, sir. With that, I will definitely be warming up some more tubes.
Oh, I have a question. I have a question before you dash away on your Browning receiver. On that very receiver there, obviously there is an RF gain control that, if manipulated, will change. Unless you have, there's another control you pull out, I think. But if you're in the right mode, you will manipulate your S meter reading, at least the resting reading, by revolving the RF gain around. I'm just curious, how on that meter do you have a lot of people that peg the thing out when they're transmitting?
As a matter of fact, no. You and Wayne, because he's even closer than you. He's just down the block from you. About the only two that actually hit me at 40.
Okay, and I think that's something adjustable too. If you're doing the RF gain control, you can back things down, and I guess select whatever S unit you want with the RF gain control. All right, just curious. The one around here, it seems like everybody is smashing the meter up unless I readjust the RF gain control. So probably something at 8. Thanks for radio number 2, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB.
45.
And hello, Paul, back in the radio room. The coax is connected to the newest radio, or your newest old radio. Tell us about it. Over.
Okay, that's my other ICM International Crystal radio. It's an executive CTZ-100C.
Okay, they liked having these elaborate model numbers. Oh, hey, now we're going to do better on this one. For those watching at YouTube on the video, we're going to do better with the picture on this one. Not only is the radio look like it just came out of the box, this appears to be the radio that we are actually listening to when we go back to Paul. Over.
Yes, that's the radio you're listening to. However, I had trouble with the stock microphone on this thing, that big old giant brown microphone on top of it. The modulation is blowing the thing. So, it's a little hard to get parts for it. So I just found another microphone. My famous Turner JM Plus 2U power mic. I'm running it fairly low. It doesn't need it. Radio's got pretty good modulation, I believe. It looks like it's a little slow right now. It's not bad. Anyway, this is a basic radio, but this was also manufactured in 1962. They made 3 of them then. It was MC, not MC, I confused on this thing. It's Executive Model 100C, and then of course I had an Executive 50, and they made an Executive 10 on the thing too. All 3 were manufactured in 1962. They have a universal power supply on the thing, solid state, 117 AC, 12 volt DC, 6 volt DC. Very quality radio. I got more to say, but I figured you put a lot of things on it.
Yeah, that's always a giveaway, that you might have an early 50s or rather a late 50s or early 60s radio, because if it will go mobile, it'll have the ability to do run 6 volt DC on some of the older 6 volt cars. Well, this one is even louder, but then you explained you are running the amplified microphone, but signal-wise about the same resting carrier and the same forward modulation. A little more information on this one. It's got 9 tubes, and as you said, ability to go base or mobile. I've even got a rear panel. I might show a rear panel version of the radio so we can see what's going on there as you take another transmission. But it's doing a good job, sounding very good. You will be pleased when you listen to this on the archives. Over.
Okay, I try to keep the microphone down as low as possible. You know that. Bring it up this floor, swing it right to 100. And it really sounds pretty good. Not too loud. It doesn't hurt my head to listen to one like that. Anyway, yeah, this got a modulation light on the front. A red modulation light, and it's glowing bright, right? That's still working. And like I said, the ceramic mobile microphone, it was not functioning. I got it, but it's not functioning. Well, it was really very nice. They were way ahead of their time. At 62, it's a quality radio. I really don't understand why they didn't sell more of them. It was super nice radio. They sure put a lot about. Anyway, back to you guys.
Yeah, I agree. Really nice stock audio, good amplified audio, and a pretty bang-up signal. Like I said, that's the signal I was comparing with your general radio telephones, no problem. I noticed on the back they even have sort of a little tube complement schematic, push to reset. I wonder what you're resetting. What's in the radio that you would need to reset? And that's like a circuit breaker, perhaps, and then some... It says power transistors. I don't know that could be for the mobile power supply. Now let me go back to the front shot there, and yeah, it's not a bad little radio. And it wasn't super fancy. There wasn't an S meter. Didn't have 23 channels, but like you said, they're very well built. And your proof of that, here we are in the 21st century, and the radio's just keying down and talking really nice. Radio number 3 from International Crystal Manufacturing. This is the model CTZ 100 Charlie. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 channels, 4 channels. Anyway, more channels than the previous one. Like you said, the tunable receiver. Looks like it has even a larger speaker. At least it has a larger speaker grill and the modulation light. So this is a yet more deluxe, I guess, than the 50. Maybe twice as much as the 50. Give us another transmission before you go. Thanks for bringing by a radio that maybe some people, one, weren't even aware existed, and two, may not have ever heard on the air before. But you got to love it, the old Tube Radio Network.
Yeah, interesting. Inside the radio, the tubes are they're running vertical on the thing. They're not running up and down, they're running sideways on the radio. They stick them in sideways, which not too many of the radios do that, except for I think the Browning has, Raven I think does it. Other than that, it's kind of strange when you open up, find the radio's not sitting upright. I mean, the tube's not sitting upright on the thing. Very neat inside, however. Very neat, and just a quality radio. Thanks for checking in, Dad.
Okay, it shouldn't be too bad. I think some of the higher power tubes, you had to be careful if you're running sideways. You get a little filament sag there as they heat up. But that was used for mobile radio, so obviously it would handle the vibration, and probably some real good tubes back then anyway, since they were being made all the time. Thanks for Radio 3. I am checking through the rack here, looking at the other studios, seeing if we can convince the Jingle Singers to put down the cookies and eggnog and run over to the ribbon microphone and give us our close to the top of the hour ID about their favorite place to be on a Saturday night.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite spot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
We certainly hope the station for you is OTR, and we're looking for Radio 4. I was just thinking, I've got a little Christmas tree around here somewhere. I need to get something to adorn the top of the antenna tuner back there. So maybe next week, assuming it's still here, we'll holidayize the Radio Shack here. Right now, we are looking for radio number 4. 45 with Radio 4, I think. Hello, Paul.
Hi, Dennis. What is that tonight? Sure quiet out there. I don't think there's any ball games on, but there might be, though. Anyway, I'd like to check in my Utica Town and Country MC-27.
Okay, see, we find a shot of that. That was the MC as in Master Control 27, over?
That's correct, MC-27.
All right, I'll bring up a shot of that. Yeah, I checked back on some of the prior year's check-ins here in the first couple weeks of December, and they're usually a little bit slow, and that is because there are Christmas, especially on Saturday nights, Friday and Saturday nights, Christmas parties at offices, friends and family having little Christmas get-togethers, Christmas shopping, things like that. So we sort of expect things to slow down and people to not necessarily be in the radio room, the Radio Shack, when we are on the air. It's kind of hard when it's only a 2-hour window. So we appreciate any stations that tonight can stop the festivities or sneak out of the festivities wherever they are and stop by. This is a neat little radio. Let me pop up a shot. If you're not at oldtuberadio.com, we've got it up right now, but I'm going to, for those watching the video, we'll kick it in here, and Paul will give us a transmission. And this is another radio from his collection. The video that we're showing might actually be the one he's talking on. Go ahead.
Yeah, mine's in there somewhere. It's Utica's MC-27. I got the pictures of it in there. You got another one on there. I'll keep on looking at it. You probably bring it in there. It doesn't make any difference. This is a neat little radio. This Town and Country was the first Town and Country radio they made, Utica made. And they made 3 or 4 of them, I think. No, 3 of them, I think. They went up to the real classy 3rd model, which was real. I don't have one of them. I know Harvey does, and it's really a good sound of radio. This thing's very basic. As you can see, it's only got 3 knobs in the front. It's got a red light on the top, and it just tells you when it's on. That's it. The speakers on the front, too. A few other things I'll tell you about. I'm sure you got some more information on it.
Okay, I like it's set up more like a tabletop AM radio with the big speaker grill and the knob. That's when I first saw that. I thought it was like a portable AM radio with a big tuning dial there. Now the red light, the light behind the tuning, you say that's just a pilot light when it comes on?
Yeah, just when you turn the radio on, it comes on. It's not doing anything other than just staying up red.
Okay, well, I guess it's if you don't have anything else to light up or an S meter, it's good to know that the radio is on. Classic, I love that microphone, the classic standard. That says Old Tube Radio anyway, and it looks like the mic plug is a standard, like a 1/4-inch phone jack. It might be a TRS. I'm just curious on the mic plug there. Is that just a phono plug?
Yeah, that's a microphone plug right on the left-hand plug, right next to the squelch.
Okay, from Utica, UTICA, this is the Town and Country, showing a production run, and I don't know if that's for this particular radio, at least for the Uticas, from 1960 to 1966. The price was $189.50, so that was down in the like the general radio telephone prices of that era. And this also, like the International Crystal Manufacturing radios, will go 12-volt or 6-volt DC. More information if you've got a Sam's PhotoFax CB2. You know, it's an early radio if it's in number 2. And they're right at the end at page 141. The audio on this isn't as clean as the Town and Country's, but like I said, could be just the age of the microphone, but it is definitely loud. Over.
Okay, well, I'll get back off thing. I'm running another turn-on microphone on it. The one that silver one, or not silver, but the kind of a yellowish white one on top. I've got one of those too, but the modulation is not there on the thing. Most of them, I do have the stock mics do work pretty well. I don't know why I'm having bad luck with these 2 radios, but anyway, it's real simple. It's got a squelch control, front bar speaker, and basic nice. That's it. The 9-tuber with 6 crystals, controlled channels, and you can remove the crystals by just removing the cover on the back of the radio. No big deal. You don't have to remove the whole cover to get in this thing. They're easy accessible. Boy, I tell you, that's just about it for the thing. There's not so much more to talk about it. It's got a nice chrome top on it, and of course on the picture you can hardly see it, but it's polished aluminum front with lines to it. And, well, that's about it. It's just a neat little radio, just basic to do its job, and that's it.
Yeah, it's kind of cute. Kind of a nice looking radio there. If you're at old2radio.net, I changed the picture over to an advertisement. Sometimes in the mid 60s, early 60s, showing the $189.50 price, and the fact that it was a 6-channel radio telephone with the latest innovation in engineering, offering effective suppression of ignition and other noises. Radio number 4, the Utica MC27, Town and Country. Sounding good, Paul. Thanks for bringing it by, and a good selection of radios that we don't often get to hear. And maybe some of our listeners out there remember these from business days back in the 60s, or, you know, the local fire truck might have had one of these, or maybe you had one yourself. But if not, they are still out there and they're still working good. They haven't changed much. I mean, the frequency's still the same and the mode is still the same. Just the radios have changed a little bit, but we try to relive the past, I guess, thanks to our tube radio operators. Thanks, Paul. I did hear an item of interest. Something tells me that someone has found a general radio telephone. Over.
25, Dave.
Hey, 25. Let me get you checked in on the SWL side. We'll get the big SWL 25 numbers up and running, and then we'll go back to you to see how the radio is working. We haven't heard that one in a while. Over.
You're exactly right. It's been kind of on standby with a little help from my friend and a little effort. We got it on the go. And this is the from downtown beautiful Burbank, California. This is the MC5 General Radio Telephone. Over.
All right, you know, and I heard the tone call. We call it the Tweety Bird, and that was really good at 100% modulation. The audio on the microphone is a little bit rough, almost like it's going through a bad connection or something. Got plenty of signal, but if I don't copy 100%, it's just the audio's a little rough. But I know you are trying your best. And we appreciate General Radio Telephone. In fact, I know Paul does, because he has put the General Radio Telephone collection off to the side this week to give us some of the rare ones on the International Crystal Manufacturing in Utica. So I know he's going to appreciate that MC5. Give us another transmission. You are Radio 5, by the way.
It appears that everything's working, and anyway, not working on the microphone, not working right, but it indicates 25 in and find work taken 74.
Okay, we'll get to 74 in as well. Yeah, that might need just to have the microphone unplugged and plugged back in, and you know, take the top off and turn the thing off and pull the tubes out and put the tubes back in when you get a chance in the next year. that might help out. But signal is good. Audio is a little low than we normally would expect, but it's a classic MC5. One of their very popular radios from 1962. That seems to be the year tonight, 62, 63. This is same time a good choice, because this is a radio that was competing for sales with the International Crystal radios that we were listening to in the Utica Town and Country. This was a 7-tube radio, and it sold for around $200. But notice that it has a little more feature packed with an S meter and the tone alert. There is a schematic, by the way, for this radio at old2radio.com. Before you go, let's take one more transmission, since I know it takes a lot of time to get these things back up on the shelf and connect the coax. So we want to get you a couple of transmissions here. Radio number 5, sounding good. Thank you.
Hey, Joey, get into the mic a little bit more, will you, closer?
Yeah, it's just for some reason the audio seems to be really, really restricted, and I don't know if flat topping or what, but it has about 20% to 25% modulation. Yeah, I think it's in the microphone. Go ahead and put the tone alert on, because I think that actually has 100% modulation. Go ahead and put the tone on. Oh yeah, that the signal goes up like 6 to 10 dB when that tone comes through. So it could be something with the microphone, because it certainly sounds like the audio circuit is doing fine getting the audio out of there.
Thanks. Check it. At least we got it checked in for the first time in about 50 years. Thanks, man.
All right, doing a good job, and I know Paul appreciated getting a general radio telephone on the board. The MC5. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network. Real radios glowing in the dark when we can get them. We're sort of in the holiday slowdown here. A lot of people out on a Saturday evening at the office Christmas party or the family Christmas party are out trying to beat the crowds Christmas shopping. But we are here, of course, listening for your tube radios. Let's see if the jingle singers are, yes, they are, around the microphone on the other studio, and here they go.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, the friendliest nation for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
And let's go over to the SWL list. SWL 113, Arlen has dialed up frequency. Wisconsin should be on the board if it shows up that way. But Arlen, thanks for tuning in the Old Tube Radio tonight, and we'll get you official up here on the big board with your check-in. We are listening for, oh boy, I forgot. I think it's radio number 6.
Yeah, Joe, you got a copy? Oh, Joe, you out there?
Yeah, I wonder if he turned that thing off.
Now, doggone, he should get more out of it than what he's getting out of it. I want him to get closer to the mic, but he's gone. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, it seems like when he got close, it didn't make much difference. Almost like it got worse. I wonder if he's got a. Well, at first I thought maybe he had a tube or something that's just flat topping, but it certainly has. I don't know where the tone call injects its audio, but he's got plenty of audio with the tone, so it's definitely in and around the microphone, or maybe even a bad connection somewhere. Just that's almost what it sounds like.
Yeah, it could be right on thing. I checked that radio out not too long ago, and everything was good on the thing. And I was hoping to be a little better on that, but we'll get it better.
Break OTR.
And the break OTR, go ahead, please.
Hey, good evening, Dennis. Just got home. I've been to the kids' house for a Christmas party, so I wanted to get in here and say SWL 37 checking in.
Indeed, that's where usually this week and next week, a lot of people out at Christmas parties and doing the things, and we understand that, and we're glad everybody is enjoying the family, or whether it's an office party. We're getting you checked in on the 37 mode.
All right, well, thank you. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but if I get ready to fire one up, you'll know. You'll be the first to know besides me.
Me and the rest of the universe at oldtuberadio.net will be the first to know.
Number 7.
Okay, as I try and scratch the cat, click the mouse, and answer the radio. Hello, 7.
And hello, OTR and all the SWLs. This time, bringing by the Elmer Fudd type item, the Johnson Messenger 223.
All right, we're getting a good selection tonight. Good selection of the classic radios. Maybe some that people don't know about, but I think everybody knows about E.F. Johnson. And this, I think, hands down, would be their most well-known radio. The Messenger one, of course, Messenger 2, and then with the S meter and all 23 channels, the Messenger 223. Over to you for a transmission.
There you go. Actually reading one of the old ads talking about the 223 having a bit more audio punch power than the 2. So there you go. A real super simple radio. Just 3 knobs and a place to attach your microphone. And yeah, you can't get much easier than that. And it's really got a nice receive to it, actually.
Where are you boys located?
Yeah, well, Johnson, I think, was known more for their transmitters, but they definitely did a good receiver in that 223, at least for the 11-meter radios. The big transmitters, the Viking, the Ranger, Thunderbolt, linear amplifiers, all good stuff. And the station, we are here in Midtown Fresno, Central Valley, Clovis, all around, but this is the old Tube Radio Network here tonight, and we're talking with Ed, who is on his classic radio from the early 70s, 1969, 70, 71 is when the E.F. Johnson 223 was manufactured. Over to you, Ed.
Oop, might help I press the right microphone button here. Yeah, now the picture you have up there has the original Johnson microphone. This one has a Silver Eagle D104, as I did not receive the microphone with the radio.
I'm using the Cobra handheld that we usually use for emergencies to communicate with the other four-wheel drives when we're jeeping up in the mountains. I've got one built into the Jeep, but it seems like this one picks up a lot better than than the one in the Jeep with the big antenna and everything.
Yeah, the Cobra is working well, and if you're using it for emergency communication and talking to your friends out on the road, it's always good to fire it up and check it out. Your audio sounds good. The signal is good. Again, I'm here in Midtown Fresno, and likewise with the other station, talking on the Tube Radio. We're out here every Saturdays, usually from 8 to 10. So good to hear you out there, and thanks for checking in with us. I wanted to make a comment on the E.F. Johnson here, and that would be, oh yeah, the price, $200. So this price point was very similar to the general radio telephone MC5, around $200, and typically you find these with the microphone. So, see, now you've got to look for one that the desk mic that actually says Johnson on it. Over.
There you go. I actually kind of thought about doing that, and then after getting the old Silver Eagle here put onto it, I figured, I kind of like the sound of this one because I've got one of the Turner mics that, just like the Johnson microphone, only doesn't have Johnson written on it, and it just doesn't quite have the punch that this one does.
No, that one sounds good. That's a very good choice for the radio. I think it's hard to make them sound bad. You'd have to have a very poor quality microphone on there to make it sound bad. I'm going to pop up one more picture. It's a 223, but it'll be slightly different in that it doesn't have the modulation. There's a little red light. The one I'm showing now does not have the modulation light, and I don't know the specifics. Next time Larry is out, radio ham guy who actually worked at E.F. Johnson, he might know what happened with that, whether the modulation light was an early model or a late model, and what prompted them to put that on there. Probably because I know, on your S meter, when you key the radio, does it show RF output with modulation movement?
Yes, it does, receiving in signals and also when transmitting. It doesn't really show, well, yeah, I guess it does, I'll be darned. I see just a tiny wiggle forward as I am transmitting.
Okay, so you would give it some modulation indication, but maybe it's better to have a light on there as well. It might not be that hard to do. It's one of those things that's like, if we just, the engineers come in, if we just connect a wire over to this part and drill a hole, we could put another light in there. Be one more thing. We can say we updated that. Radio number 6 is the E.F. Johnson Messenger 223. You just heard it, and we will hear it again before Ed goes away. Sounding good with the D104 microphonium. Back to you.
There we go, yes. And this one is the one without the modulation light. I have seen them with it, and yeah, I have no idea when, why, or how they changed it. That would be interesting to know. With that, I'll get out of here and get another radio on.
37.
All right, getting it on with the radio. I want to check the big board, see if there's any comments. Yeah, multitasking. It's what I do. It's not what I do well, but it's sort of a necessary evil here. We have a breaking station. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Dennis. After I at least get this one in, I'm going to go in there and relax. I'm beat. I'm tired. So anyway, I want to check in my general radio telephone, the Super MC11A, 24-channel version of it. This one here, running this here with a stock handheld microphone.
Nice loud audio. Our second general radio telephone of the evening. Earlier, we had the MC5. Had a little bit of audio issues. And then we have, of course, your Super MC11A that has absolutely no audio issues. It's sounding good from Radio 7.
Oh, thank you, Dennis. Well, at least I figure I'd get this in. I'm going to go in there and relax. I've been over there since about 4 o'clock this afternoon, and I'm tired with screaming kids and hollering kids and everybody. Yeah, it gets loud. You know how that goes.
Absolutely. So, all right, you've done good. You've got plenty of Christmas spirit going on, and you also had a chance to get into the radio room and give us a key down on the Super MC11A from General Radio Telephone. The radio itself with 9 tubes and a couple of transistors hiding in there. ECLL 800 for the modulator output, which gives it that great stuff. Give us one more transmission before you go. Thanks for popping by, and we got you checked in.
Okay, Des, you have a good evening. And all you guys out there, wish you guys a Merry Christmas coming up. I know it's not here yet. I got a few more weeks to say it again. So y'all have a good evening. I'm going to be out, and I may be listening, but that's going to be about it. I'm tired. Have a good one, Des.
All right, thanks for coming by. Yeah, there's a lot of people listening. 27085. This is where we're at, the Old Tube Radio Network in Central California, Channel 11. And we are also streaming live audio at oldtuberadio.net, so you could hear it there on your Universal Media Net web device. I want to say hello to our stations in California, of course. New York is still in with us. I think it is Sunday there now. Lawrence, Kansas, Forest City, Iowa. Hello to you. Hello, Florida, North Carolina, Dallas, Georgia, X4000 tuning in, Virginia, and who knows who else. Tell your friends if they want to hear the classic sound, or maybe we're checking one of the radios that they were posting on Facebook. Say, yeah, they're still out there and they sound pretty good. Tell them to head over to the Old Tube Radio Network on a Saturday night on Pacific Coast time, 8 to 10 p.m. Of course, with the sun down, we can't do much with the daytime skip. Sometimes we will get E-skip, get a few check-ins that way, and we are at the very bottom of the sunspot cycle. So maybe in 4 or 5 years, we will start getting in the DX check-ins. But in the meantime, we are listening for any and all radios that can make it through. Radio 8 coming up.
Oh, there we go. Number 7.
And number 7, I think I was just about, I don't have my reverb unit, so I can say, it's alive.
There you go. Yes, this is. Oop, there it goes again. Wow. It's doing some strange stuff. I can see the winking and blinking light there, doing some winking and blinking when I'm not saying anything. Well, hopefully it's still working now. Anyway, the Robin T123 no B with the winking and blinking light and some really strange exotic sounds or something going on?
Yeah, they're not as exotic. Sometimes you get into Frankenstein mode, and you've heard that before. This is just more of a crackly, crunchy thing going on. So I'm sure you probably see some really intense dancing on that magic iTube.
There we go. Yeah, I think actually it has part to do with the squelch switch in there. If I start moving it around, it crackles to beat heck, and then I keep moving it back and forth for a minute. The crackle goes away, and I think the crackle in the microphone went away.
Yeah, it was clean that time. Like I said, you can monitor the audio. Ed is talking about, if you're looking at the video, right where the pointer is there, that is actually a tube. behind the surround on the faceplate there. We're looking right directly to the side of the tube, and as he introduces modulation to the radio, the top and the bottom lighter green areas come together to let you know you are approaching close to 100% modulation. So it's actually showing whatever's happening inside the radio that he can't hear and outside the radio that he can. And back to you.
Well, wow. Yep, there he goes again. I can definitely see us doing his weird thing. Well, there you go. That's kind of what happens with old tube radio. You never know what might transpire when you're talking on the darn thing.
Yeah, it's sort of, sort of like driving an old car, and a little puff of smoke comes out the exhaust, and the brakes go to the floor, but it still stops, and it still gets you to where you're going. The Robin T123, 11 tubes, 2 transistors also thrown in there somewhere. Can go 12-volt DC, 115-volt AC, and you will find more information about it in Sam's Photo Facts 35, page 95. Doing a good job for Radio 8, and it did do a little bit of the Frankenstein mode the last time. Thanks for bringing it by.
Okay. Well, there you go. Odd radio for an odd operator. We'll get one more radio in here before the night's over.
All right, there's plenty of time, another 35 minutes or so for your radio check-ins here on a holiday evening. A lot of people out, as you heard, Chris coming back from a Christmas party. So we might get some more SWL check-ins as people start driving back home and thinking that they've had enough eggnog or whatever it is, little Christmas tree cookies. Well, I don't have much here. I apologize that the Radio Shack is not as festive as it could be. But we'll work on that next time. The Old Tube Radio Network in our 34th year of doing this here on 27085, listening for your classic tube radios. We're looking for radio number 9. Not sure what happened to my comments page. It's actually lost the last 5 or 6 comments that were up on the board. So hopefully I'm not, if anybody's made a comment, hopefully I'm not missing anything. Speaking of comments, let's get some comments from the Peanut Gallery over in the other studio.
You're listening in the latest style at
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
Well, it's warmed up to 67 in the Radio Shack here. It was 62 when I started it. So the tubes are doing their job here tonight.
Okay, I believe I have the antenna switch in the right position, SWL number 7.
Big signal, good audio, and no squealing. That's usually a triple play telling you that indeed the coax switch is in the right position, over.
Yeah, well, I was just kind of hoping. I've moved things around, and I thought I had it in the right spot, but I wasn't positive, so the needle's swinging in the right direction, so I hope everything's working well. Anyway, this is the Tram TR27E with the Electro Voice 638 microphone.
All right, I think some of the big three tonight were chomping on the bit to get on the list, so here's one of them for sure from the Tram TR27E. That radio makes a nice little pop, not a thump, it's a little pop when it keys up.
Actually, it also pops on this side, so I hear a little pop through the speaker, and the relays in this thing, they must be monstrous in there because you can hear them clack.
Well, that's the sound of good radio. I remember, and this is probably when in my walkie-talkie days, when I had the long wire, listened to the guys in L.A., and I remember that there was somebody had but it's just huge snap, sound like a gun going off, and the guy was talking to his buddy, and he said something about he had mounted, I'm not making this up, this is how I remember, he had mounted the relay outside the radio, or did something outside the radio and on a board, so a sounding board. So when the radio keyed down, it was just ka-whack, like a bullet, a gun being fired, and then of course the room picks up the noise. So there must be something about that.
That could be. Some of those guys I hear on 160 meters are kind of that way. When they key up, you definitely hear it key, and because they've got some monster stations.
There's something about grabbing, like pulling up a chair to the bar, I guess, grabbing that frequency where you key the radio and there's a ka-thump, and you have this full quieting AM carrier. I know some of the boat anchor guys like to do that. In fact, it was Mike DeRoe on 75 meters would talk about how he would purposely undermodulate the radio, but he would bring his carrier up so that you would have a nice full quieting signal, but it would still be loud enough. But he said there was something about having, grabbing that real estate and grabbing the frequency and quieting it down and then inserting your voice into the carrier rather than turning the modulation up all the way and being loud, but having the carrier kind of down in the noise. So I guess there's many schools of thought on that. We're with radio number 9 here. It's the Tram TR27E. I don't have a picture up of the video yet, but what I do have at oldtuberadio.net is an advertisement from, I want to say 1963 from Tram, and they put out very elaborate advertisements on how to adjust your radios and things of that nature, but I don't think you need any adjusting, over.
There you go. And yes, in that advertising picture that you have there, it's got one of those Turner microphones that looks just like the Johnson, only doesn't have Johnson written on it. I got one of those also. hooked it into this radio, the Electro Voice is far superior.
Definitely. All right, speaking of far superior, let's actually go to, that was a TR-27 series, I think. There was the C and the E and some other ones, as Harvey has helped us out with checking in. But I want to go to the actual radio that we're listening to here, the TR-27E, and this is the picture that I am trying to insert here in the video, but it's up at oldtuberadio.net, is your, oh, my mouse is not working, but anyway, there we go. It is actually the radio on which you were talking, over.
That is exactly the radio on which I am speaking at this moment. A very large radio. That's a nice 5x7 speaker. The meter on there, man, that thing is the biggest thing I've seen on anything, as a matter of fact, really. It's about 3 inches tall and 3.5 inches wide, and you can be blind and halfway across the room and still see that thing.
Yes, pinning the meter has a whole different effect when you have something with that long of a throw and a 4-inch dial, 4-inch meter on that. I see it goes green from maybe S9, and I can't tell. With a meter that large, I bet it probably goes to 60 over.
That is correct. It goes to 60, and, you know, I haven't seen anybody hit that. You get about 40, which is about the peak I get on anybody.
Yeah, there are ways to calibrate it to where they do dBm, and it's like an S9 is minus 50 dBm or something, so it depends on how it's done. 1963 is when this radio was all the rage from Tram. So we're doing good tonight. Seems like 62, 63 is a popular year tonight in the Old Tube Radio Network. Radio number 9, go back to you for another transmission. Working good all the way around. Always enjoy the big trams.
Yes, the big Tram. Definitely one of my favorites. And it's just in such nice shape, too. Well, that and the darn thing definitely puts out, someone done some peaking and tweaking with this critter, because it's putting out a little bit more than that 4 watts.
Yeah, there's probably some adjustment somewhere that has been put to the proper mode, and it's not overdone. You can usually tell if somebody's over peaking the thing. You don't have any forward movement on the meter, and the audio is down a little bit, but I think everything is working good. I see Scooter's back. I did some reconnecting of things to do, and I see there's a power cord, end of power cord dangling out of the rack here above the other radio, and I just noticed it. I'm thinking, what is that for, and why is it hanging out here? What do I have that isn't plugged in that should be? So let me push that back in, and we will investigate after the program here. Thanks for the Tram, over.
Oh, man. That does not give me hope. Looking forward to rearranging anything on the desk here when I have new microphone equipment and some more wires coming in. I hope I do not find something like that I have no idea where it goes. Good luck with that, and with that, we'll get out of here.
Okay, well, I did a quickie to get on the air, but I have a lot more to do. If people are used to seeing the rack here, if you look at some of the old programs, I've added a new unit. This unit right here is a voice processor, and I'm adding the rack space for some heat, convection cooling. And then, of course, I put the other 2 units that have my S meters way on the top, and I need to bring them down. But I'm losing some space with the convection holes here, but I need to bring one of them down and maybe redo lots of things here. So you might see some different. But it threw me that I must have unplugged something. And I have a cat that says, Scooter says she wants to be up in the operating position. So I'm going to go see if we can fix that before I have something sharp that's letting me know that it's going to happen anyway. The Old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio is glowing in the dark. We are going to be here for another 20 minutes or so, and we're looking for your radios. Yeah, Ray, if you're listening, we always like shots of radios. And I don't know, at oldtuberadio.com, Rob used to have an email address where they could be sent in as well. And then he actually can post them up on the site too. So you might check that out. And Scooter has made it up to the radio table here back where it's a little bit warm. We are looking for Radio 10. I have a feeling that we will make double digits tonight before we sign out.
Out of curiosity, that's a really nice-looking shock mount you have there on the microphone. What type is that?
That is the original. In fact, I'm just looking at it, and I notice it's off kilter here, and they go the bands go bad. I have some extra one. I ordered some from Heil not too long ago, and that's sort of the weak link here. But I notice it's not exactly where it should be. I'm going to mess it up by playing with it, so let's not do that. That is Heil makes two of them now, and the other one that I saw, I think I like better. It's a different configuration, but this is the shock mount that actually goes with the Heil PR40. It's got the little mic cube. I guess I could make a little thing that says OTR, and then you could rotate that around so that it would show. And then it goes into the boom. This is also their boom with the top that comes off and you put the wire in. And then this floats around where you can undo things. I've got that really tight. Okay. But there's a different one that has, I don't know if it's the cabling system, but I think I like it better. And it's one of those things when I have $100 that I don't know what to do with, I may exchange that for this. I like them better, and whether they work better or not, I don't know. But this is and I can't this is a PL2T, SM something. It has a number that I can't think of, but that's the one that actually goes with the PR40 from Heil.
Cool. Yeah, no, the one I have also has the same issue. The little bands kind of lose their elasticity, and it doesn't look anything as nice as that. Mine just like two plastic rings with the straps in it, so that looks much nicer.
Yeah, there is another one. It's a newer one that wasn't out when I got this. I got this pretty much when the PR40 came out, probably a year. And they come in a really nice wood case. And but the newer one I like. There's also, I'm running the windscreen, which I really don't need, I don't think. There is a pop filter, but it's made for the RE20. It's called an RE20 pop, but it will fit on this, and I'm thinking I might move to that. The microphone will look a lot cooler if it didn't have the pop filter on it here, which I really don't need. So that's another item of interest. But I'll see if I can find the model number on the other part here. The problem is it's specific to this microphone. So if I change to like the MD421, or I've got a condenser, I've got some other microphones, this isn't going to work. I'm going to have to change the whole assembly. The boom will work, but I'll have to have the arm and everything else.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to have to do, is find one that will fit the larger condenser microphone.
And this is a fairly heavy microphone, and it seems to not have any problems holding up the weight. I mean, you can go way up here, way down there, and it swings around. It doesn't, like I said, this whole radio table isn't the best configuration. What it doesn't do is it go back. It hits the stop. I wish it could go back farther. It can go way out, Hey, there it is, 3D microphone for you on the video, but the one thing I don't like is that it doesn't go back as far, so you have to have the arm a specific way on the table, or else it sticks too far in front of you. But hey, you know, I could be running off a little crystal microphone, so it's a good thing.
No, that looks like a really nice setup. Like you say, the way that's arranged up there, you can put a little logo on it and everything. That looks really nice.
And then the new processing unit here that sort of is replacing all my old gear that was needing in some new capacitors and things. So I'm just testing this out. So far, so good. I'm really liking the controls. It's got front panel controls, and it also has an interface, a GUI interface, and graphic interfaces on the computer. So you can actually pick the unit up and take it somewhere and use it, or you can keep it here and have elaborate graphs and see where your EQ stuff is. It is digital, though. It is definitely digital. It's one of the things, if you crank your gain up, you can hear those digital artifacts. I guess that's the one caveat there. But typically for a lot of this stuff, you're not cranking things all the way up and you're actually doing a lot of attenuating. But having all these functions in one box with the ability to have analog knobs, but the also ability to have it show up on a screen is pretty cool.
That is. Now that's a slick unit. Yeah, your stuff is definitely way far beyond anything that I have or probably could afford.
Well, it could be overkill for 3 kilohertz wide audio for sideband, maybe for 6 kilohertz. But for doing any production, we've got radio production stuff I do too, so that helps out with that. Jingle singers are tapping on the glass. They say, "What are you talking about?" I say, "I'm talking about you guys and the magic of the Old Tube Radio Network."
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic
Old Tube Radio.
for you.
Hey, Scooter, I should have brought you some treats, huh? Uh-oh.
Yeah, number 20.
Hello, radio. You are braving the elements and out in the Radio Shack.
Yeah. Fell asleep in there. Just woke up in time. Okay. Number 20 on my Browning Golden Eagle, or as I call it, the Golden Eagle, from Browning Laboratories. 23 channels, no waiting. Browning medallion on the back of the microphone looks pretty nice. And that'll be it for me. I'm a little tired tonight.
Okay, a lot of stuff going on. A lot of things going on. Parties and things. The picture is gone. The R68, T68, there it is. Okay. For some reason it was gone there for a second. It sounds good. I noticed you have enough energy to orchestrate the microphone, the ping.
Just enough there. You might write down that you may have to proxy me in for next week. Might be out of town visiting the grandkids, so I might be there on computer, but possibly not. So be
cares?
All right, I'll make a note of it. Of course, you know the Saturday night place to be, oldtuberadio.net. He's your friend. We are listening to Harvey. Checks in his SWL-20 and often checks in on his Browning Golden Eagle radios. His favorite one is the R68T68. The original Golden Eagle, some people call it the Mark I or the Mark None, and I appreciate you taking that extra mile to give our SWLs the classic sound. Not only the ping, but the fact that you could orchestrate the ping by moving the microphone about. And I don't know if you have the banana style or the D104. The banana style microphone's a little bit easier to swing around without hitting yourself in the head.
Oh, yeah. This is the unamped D104 with the Browning medallion on the back. I have the banana mics for these radios, but like to keep them in a safe environment there, out of the heat and the super cold air. Fragile cartridge, and once that goes, there aren't many replacements.
Yeah, it's sort of like putting the car on the trailer and taking it to the show. It's just the tires never hit the road anymore, so you've got to do that sometimes. I was going to tell you something about the Browning. Here we go. The R68T68 was 1967, 1968. I believe the model that followed that, and correct me if I'm wrong, should be the Mark II in its various configurations. This radio, in its various configurations, had a Series 1 and a Series 2, and there were some differences that way. And there was also, and we're showing in the picture here, the optional speaker, external speaker cabinet, which my sources are showing that it was about a $25 item. It was pretty cool. And then there was an optional wood cabinet where you could pair the two transmitters and receivers together and kind of match that, and that was also at about $25. So, yeah, those are things. If you have those, you want to keep them nice.
Yeah, don't have those. Of course, wouldn't have room for them in here. Yeah, mine's the series with the on-air light bulb. The other series, the little light bulb on the transmitter says spot. This one says on-air. And then they had a receiver that, this one has the 3-position switch for the RF gain, and then they also had a receiver that had the variable RF gain. Anyway, but this is the one I have. I like it, so I'm going to keep it. Okay, I'm going to let you go. Catch you in a week or 2 or 3 or 4, depending on the holiday.
Yeah, that's holiday stuff coming up. That's on us right now. So, yeah, enjoy yourself wherever you might be, and we will get you checked in if we don't hear from you otherwise, or like I said, you might be on the big page and wave a hand that way. Thanks for Radio 10. I knew we would get into double digits. The Browning Golden Eagle Mark nothing, the R68T68, and that is our first Browning. So I think we're represented. We got a Browning, we got a Tram, we got some general radio telephones, and some other radios that are a bit rare that we'll be talking about when we sign out here and read the list in about 5 or 6 minutes. But there's plenty of room for you to check in, whether it's SWL style or Tube Radio here at oldtuberadio.net. Break OTR. Go ahead, please.
50 checking in again at the Golden Eagle Mark III.
All right, the Mark III. Now, is that an SSB or an AM Mark III?
It is the standard plain Jane side band Mark III with the stock mic.
All right, sounding good, nice and loud. And now, your Screaming Eagle is definitely a Screaming Eagle, not as mellow on the ping as the R68 T68. It definitely got my attention when it keyed up for Radio 11.
That's about it. Plain old Mark III, brown bird.
All right, looking good and sounding good. And let's see, that is the 3-for-1 coupon now tonight. Checking in twice. And once again, as Radio 11 of the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. Thank you. I might add, that's our infamous 00 out there. Couple of minutes left if you'd like to warm up a radio. Probably should be able to make it in time, and still room to get your SWL checked in if you're walking in the door.
Let's do some spelling.
OTR. 27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio. Old Tube Radio.
The Old Tube Radio Network, last call, looking for radio number 12 or any SWL check-ins. Not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us
Old Tube Radio.
and be modern.
And waving a hand from Ohio. It's Denny. From one Denny to another. Hello, radio. The Old Tube Radio Network here. Just about ready to round it up and sign out tonight. We've got 11 radios, room for 12. We're at 27085 in Central California. Listening for and talking with the classic tube radios from 1958. About 1978 when they were manufactured, and here we are in the 21st century, and they're sounding good tonight.
75.
And speaking of sounding good, hello 75, hello Patrick, over.
I'm sorry I'm not warmed up enough to really be calling in, but I thought I'd take a chance and see if we can get this old Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB checked in.
Yeah, it was a good timing. Getting ready to turn things off, shut it down here, and I do have a space. There is room at the inn for your Browning Golden Eagle, the Mark III. I believe you said is the SSB, and that seems to be the popular radio here in the last 10 minutes. And I might say, even with the tubes a little bit on the chilly side, you're sounding very good, over.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I heard you guys saying that you didn't have that many brownies, so I said, you know what, I think I'll try to see if I can get my old Eagle kind of warmed up a little bit and put her out there on the air, see if she can pick up a salmon or something.
All right, good choice. Yeah, we didn't have that many Brownings, and I think the Browning aficionados and fans of Browning may be a little bit pleased when we do the counting and amounting here coming up shortly. Let me, once again, if anybody missed it, I'll pop up a picture on oldtuberadio.net of the set, the radio on which Patrick is talking, the Mark III SSB, and I think someone mentioned that that's almost, when you stack them side by side, almost 3 feet of radio.
Yeah, there's a couple pieces to it, and they're pretty good size, I guess. That receiver and the transmitter, they're both separate, 2 large boxes. But then you get into that Mark II with a lot of pieces, you know, it gets all the way across the fireplace mantle.
Yeah, they call it, I've heard it referred to as the Mark II train. When you get, was it 4 or 5 pieces, you get the sideband adapter, and then you get the amplifier and everything else. It's very impressive. Speaking of impressive, you're doing a good job on the Mark III tonight. Real nice audio. We're going to put you down as Radio 12, get you in at 9:59, right before the top of the hour, and it's sounding good. Lots of loud audio, and Patrick, it's always a pleasure to have you on not only the SWL list, but the Tube Radio list as well.
Thank you much there. Yeah, I'm glad I got under the wire there, and this old Browning Golden Eagle got a chance to spread its wing and pick up a little bit of salmon out there to munch on for a while. Anyway, you have a good one. You got Scrambler. I'm on the side.
Yeah, sounding good, and the radio is really loud. Just a reminder, if anyone would like to hear how their radio sounded here at Net Control, we do archive the audio, and it's easily found at oldtuberadio.net. You go to the top of the page, there's an archive button. You can click on that, and the OTR magnetophone will load all those little 3-inch reel-to-reel tapes that we use to record the shows on. You will notice they will show up as a date, and whether it's a tube radio or an SWL check-in, you can click on that, load it on your Universal Media Network player of choice, and you'll hear the audio as we heard it here over the air. And give yourself your own radio check, and all the radios sound good when they're checking in here tonight. Last call for radios on the old Tube Radio Network before we sign out tonight. All right, and there's a shot at oldtuberadio.net. Not a tube radio, but radios that actually replace the tube radios. The SB Console 2, I wanted to put that up there because Denny in Ohio said there's no conditions on the Console 2 tonight. And if there were, it would probably be short E-skip. But I remember those radios, the SB Console was the one... At the radio starting getting really fancy with the meters and extra dials and clocks, and they started dropping the tubes, and everyone was getting into CB radio. This is one of the ones that people wanted. I had a friend that had one of these, and just a beautiful radio, a classic, a work of art actually. When they found out they could sell these things. There were 4 million people on the radio. I think they got the design teams in and said, you need to make something that looks like Scott stereo gear that people would have, in their living room. So a lot of these started looking like stereo, AM/FM stereo radios. Very good. Anyway, Denny, thanks for bringing that up. And these radios are same vintage. We're just kind of focusing on the tube radios here, but the old classic transistorized 23-channel radios were every bit as glorious as the ones we have checked in tonight. We're going to be counting and amounting here on the old Tube Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR totals.
Well, exactly, current and final totals. Wow, they are amped up on that eggnog tonight out there in the studio. Thank you, the Jingle Singers, Mr. Announcer, and our orchestra here on the old Tube Radio Network for, I forgot to sign in here. That is for December 9th, 2017. So when I look at this stack of papers from 20 years from now, I'll know exactly what I did. Let's talk about the SWL check-ins. We had a total of, 23 and 26 for 49. Not bad. We always... On the holiday programs here, a lot of people out doing the holiday stuff, and we understand that, so we always appreciate anybody that stops by and takes a little time out of their holiday doings to check in some radios. Speaking of radios, on the list tonight we made 12, so not too bad, and the most heard manufacturer... Coming up in the last 10 minutes, when there were none, all of a sudden there were 3. Browning Golden Eagle, the Browning Laboratories tonight with 3 radios. We had 2 international crystal manufacturers, 2 from General Radio Telephone, and we'll go through the list. Starting off at 8:40 tonight. Radio number 1, the International Crystal Manufacturing CTZ 50 from 1962. Interesting radio. Very good sounding radio, by the way, Paul. If you're still listening, really good audio and a very good signal. I'm sure that radio is putting out more than 1.5 watts. Radio number 2, Mr. Ed on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB, and I stand corrected. There were 4 Brownings tonight. I miscounted 4 Brownings with the addition of that one. The International Crystal Manufacturing CTZ 100C, sort of the newer, well, I say newer, but larger version of the 50 was Radio 3 from Paul. That also sounded really good tonight. The Utica MC, the Town and Country MC27, another classic radio that you don't see many of. I don't see many of them on eBay or out for sale. You don't hear many of them for sure, but if you tune in the Old Tube Radio Network, you will be surprised at the classic radios that you hear. Thanks, Paul, for Radio 4. Jerry on the General Radio Telephone MC5, the tone signal sounded really good, but the microphone was having some issues. We're not sure if it was the microphone itself, the connector, or maybe something in the audio circuit, but the tone was 100% modulated, so that part of it is good. Anyway, Jerry, thanks for bringing it by. We don't hear that one that often, and that was our one of our 2 General Radio telephones tonight. The E.F. Johnson Messenger 223, our one and only E.F. Johnson tonight. Thanks, Ed, for that. Radio number 6. Radio number 7, Chris on the General Radio telephone, Super MC11A with the great audio, was always from the stock microphone. Our one and only Robin tonight, the T123. You fans of Magic Eye Tubes, that was your radio tonight. Thanks to SWL7 for that. Radio number 9 was also Mr. Ed on his Tram TR27E, so he gave us the one Tram tonight. Tram fans like the snap when that relay keys in. Radio 10, Harvey on the Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68, as he says, from Browning Lavatories. Radio 11, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB from 00. Thanks, Mark, for that. And then Patrick, waving a hand to all the SWLs tonight. Still listening. Hello, Madera, Fresno. Florida is in. North Carolina is still in. Dallas, Georgia is still in. Utah is still in. X4000 is still in. Virginia is still in. Lawrence, Kansas is still in. And New York. Staying up late. Or maybe getting up early. I don't know. All listening in to the radios tonight. All 12 of them. Should do pretty good. We will be here next week, assuming the rack doesn't crash and I figure out where was it? What this cable is supposed to be going to. Didn't seem to make a difference. I think I'm on the air. 73, everybody. Thanks to SearchLawrence.com and Frodex for keeping the Nixie tubes running. In fact, I got to throw those up and let's see. I think I can do that right now. If we click on the Nixies, they show up. There they are. 6 days, 21 hours, 47 minutes, and 21 seconds left until the next Old Tube Radio. 73, everybody. Thanks. Stay safe as you're out Christmas shopping and holiday partying, and we will catch you next time. Next Saturday, 8 p.m. Pacific time on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Good night. Great night.
Check on the flip side, Dennis.
All right, the Browning sounding good.
Thank you.
All right, I think I've got everything set here. If you're watching the video, we'll catch you next time. 73 from the Old Tube Radio Network.